Jeffrey Epstein was a financier whose name became synonymous with scandal, secrecy, and unimaginable abuse. Born in Brooklyn, New York in 1953, Epstein began his career as a teacher before moving into the world of high finance. He quickly established himself among the elite, cultivating relationships with some of the world's most influential figures in business, politics, and entertainment. But beneath the surface of his glamorous lifestyle, a much darker reality was taking shape. Epstein was a convicted sex offender whose life and crimes have sparked global controversy and outrage. His arrest and subsequent legal battles brought to light a web of exploitation and manipulation that spanned decades and crossed international borders. The public was shocked as details emerged about his predatory behavior, the young women and girls he targeted, and the powerful individuals who were drawn into his orbit. Epstein rose to prominence through his financial acumen, amassing a significant fortune that concealed a darker side. His wealth allowed him to purchase lavish properties in New York, Florida, New Mexico, and even a private island in the Caribbean. These locations would later become infamous as sites where many of his alleged crimes took place. Epstein's connections to Wall Street and his mysterious sources of income only deepened the intrigue surrounding his activities. Arrested in 2019 for sex trafficking minors, Epstein's case exposed a vast network of abuse and implicated powerful individuals from various sectors. The charges against him were not new. He had previously faced legal action in 2008, resulting in a controversial plea deal that many criticized as far too lenient. This time, however, the evidence was overwhelming, and the world was watching closely as the case unfolded. His mysterious death in a Manhattan jail cell, ruled a suicide, only fueled speculation about the true extent of his crimes and the possibility of a cover-up. Many questioned how such a high-profile inmate could die under the watch of authorities, especially given the number of powerful people who might have had reasons to keep him silent. The circumstances surrounding his death remain a source of debate and conspiracy theories to this day. The upcoming release of the Epstein Files promises new insights into his criminal activities and those who may have been complicit. These documents, long kept from public view, are expected to reveal the names of associates, the scope of his operations, and the mechanisms he used to evade justice for so long. Journalists, investigators, and the public alike are eager to uncover the truth and hold those responsible to account. For victims and the public, these files represent a crucial step toward understanding the full scope of Epstein's operations and seeking justice. Survivors hope that the release will finally bring recognition to their suffering and encourage others to come forward. As the world waits for answers, the Epstein case stands as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power, the importance of accountability, and the ongoing fight for justice for those who have been silenced for far too long. The Epstein files are crucial because they may reveal the full extent of Epstein's criminal network and the methods he used to exploit victims. These documents could validate victims' stories and identify those who participated or enabled the abuse. The files release is also a test of transparency and accountability for the justice system, especially given the high-profile names involved. By exposing how Epstein operated, society can better protect vulnerable individuals and ensure those in power are held accountable. Ultimately, the Epstein files are about learning from the past to prevent future exploitation. The release of the Epstein files faced repeated delays due to political and legal obstacles. Resistance from the Trump administration and political maneuvering in Congress stalled progress, despite public outcry for transparency. A bipartisan push eventually forced a vote, with overwhelming support for disclosure. The drawn-out battle highlighted the challenges of balancing transparency with legal considerations. Ultimately, the passage of the Epstein Files Transparency Act marked a victory for advocates demanding openness and accountability. The Epstein Files Transparency Act, passed in November 2025, mandates the release of all unclassified records related to Epstein and his associates. Attorney General Pam Bondi must publish these records in accessible formats, ensuring public access. The act allows for redactions to protect victims and ongoing investigations, but requires unclassified summaries for each withheld detail. This legislation reflects a societal shift toward transparency and holding the powerful accountable. The act is a direct response to public demand for answers and justice in the wake of Epstein's crimes. The Epstein files are expected to reveal more about high-profile individuals connected to Epstein's crimes. For years, the public has speculated about the true extent of Jeffrey Epstein's network and the powerful people who may have been involved. These files, long kept under wraps, could finally shed light on the shadowy connections that have fueled rumors and investigations for over a decade. As the documents are unsealed, journalists, legal experts, and the public alike are bracing for revelations that could reshape our understanding of the case and its far-reaching impact. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's close associate, was convicted for her role in sex trafficking, and the files may detail her involvement further. Maxwell's relationship with Epstein has been the subject of intense scrutiny, with many believing she played a pivotal role in recruiting and grooming young women for Epstein's abuse. The files could provide new insights into how she operated, who she interacted with, and the extent of her knowledge about Epstein's activities. Her conviction was a landmark moment, but many questions remain unanswered about her actions and the network she helped maintain. Former Presidents Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, both linked to Epstein, have denied wrongdoing, but the files could clarify their associations. Both men have faced questions about their interactions with Epstein, including flights on his private jet and visits to his properties. While they have publicly distanced themselves from Epstein, the files may contain travel logs, correspondence, or testimonies that offer a clearer picture of their relationships with him. The public's interest in their involvement remains high, and any new information could have significant political and personal consequences. Tech mogul Bill Gates and other celebrities are also under scrutiny for their connections to Epstein. Gates, along with a number of actors, musicians, and business leaders, has faced questions about meetings and associations with Epstein. The files may reveal the nature of these relationships, whether they were purely social or involved deeper business or personal ties. For many celebrities, even a passing connection to Epstein has led to public backlash and demands for transparency. The release of these documents could either dispel rumors or confirm suspicions about who was truly involved. The files may finally provide a clearer picture of how Epstein's network operated and who was complicit. Investigators have spent years piecing together evidence, but many details have remained hidden from public view. With access to new witness statements, financial records, and internal communications, authorities and journalists hope to map out the full scope of Epstein's operations. This could lead to new investigations, charges, or even exonerations, depending on what the documents reveal. Their release could have far-reaching implications for those in positions of power. As the world watches, the unsealing of the Epstein files may not only bring long-awaited answers, but also spark new debates about accountability, privilege, and justice at the highest levels of society. The coming weeks could see reputations challenged, institutions questioned, and the public demanding more transparency from those who wield influence behind closed doors. The release of the Epstein files is governed by legal safeguards to protect sensitive information and ongoing investigations. Victims' identities are redacted to ensure privacy and safety, a crucial measure for survivors. Classified documents and materials that could hinder law enforcement are also withheld. However, the Act requires an unclassified summary for every redaction, maintaining a degree of transparency. Critics worry that loopholes could obscure key facts, but the Act's measures represent progress toward accountability. The balance between disclosure and protection is central to the file's release. The release of the Epstein files has sent shockwaves through the political landscape and the wider public. Almost immediately, politicians from across the spectrum began issuing statements, some calling for further investigations, while others urged caution and restraint. The news has dominated headlines, with live coverage on major networks and social media platforms, buzzing with heated debates and speculation. Outside courthouses, crowds have gathered, some demanding accountability, others expressing frustration at the slow pace of justice. The files have become a lightning rod for public anger and political maneuvering. In government chambers, debates have grown increasingly tense. Lawmakers from opposing parties have clashed over the implications of the files, with some insisting that the revelations demand immediate action, while others warn against politicizing the issue. Congressional hearings have been called, with high-profile figures summoned to answer questions about their potential connections to the case. The files have exposed deep divisions, not just between parties, but within them, as politicians grapple with the fallout and the pressure to respond decisively. For those in the public eye, the release has brought intense scrutiny. High-profile individuals named in the documents have faced a barrage of questions from the press, with some choosing to make public statements, while others remain silent. Security has been heightened around key figures, as the atmosphere grows more charged and unpredictable. The fear of reputational damage and legal consequences hangs heavy over those implicated, fueling speculation and anxiety. On the streets, the public response is a mix of outrage, disbelief, and cautious hope. People gather in public spaces to discuss the news, share their opinions, and demand answers. Some express skepticism about whether the full truth will ever come out, while others are energized by the possibility of long overdue justice. The files have sparked conversations in homes, workplaces, and online forums, as citizens try to make sense of the revelations and what they mean for society as a whole. A major point of contention is the extent of redactions in the released documents. Protesters and activists have voiced concerns that crucial information may still be hidden, potentially protecting powerful individuals from accountability. Demonstrators hold up redacted pages as symbols of their frustration, demanding full transparency and warning that partial disclosure could undermine public trust. The debate over what has been revealed and what remains concealed continues to fuel public skepticism. For survivors, the release of the files is deeply personal. Many have waited years for their stories to be acknowledged and for the truth to come to light. At press conferences and public hearings, survivors have shared emotional testimony, describing the pain of being ignored or dismissed for so long. Support groups have formed, offering solidarity and comfort to those affected. For these individuals, the files represent not just evidence, but validation of their experiences and a step toward healing. Advocacy groups, many of which have fought for years to bring these issues to the forefront, have expressed cautious optimism. They see the release as a critical opportunity to push for systemic change and to hold those in power accountable. Leaders have called for continued vigilance, emphasizing that true justice requires more than just the release of documents. It demands action, reform, and ongoing support for survivors. Meetings between advocacy organizations and lawmakers have intensified, with activists urging for new legislation to prevent future abuses and to ensure greater transparency in cases involving powerful individuals. Nonprofits and grassroots groups are mobilizing, organizing rallies and campaigns to keep public attention focused on the need for accountability and reform. The hope is that this moment will not be fleeting, but will instead drive lasting, meaningful change. As the nation grapples with the implications of the Epstein files, this moment is widely seen as a societal reckoning, a confrontation with long-standing issues of power, abuse, and the urgent need for accountability. The path forward remains uncertain, but the demand for truth and justice has never been louder. Ahead of the files' release, new photos and emails from Epstein's estate have surfaced, offering fresh insights. 68 photos, including images of Epstein with Noam Chomsky and Bill Gates, have fueled speculation about his connections. Disclosed emails hint at the extent of Epstein's influence and the possible complicity of others, though details remain contested. These materials have heightened public anticipation and scrutiny of the forthcoming files. They underscore the importance of full disclosure in understanding Epstein's web of relationships. As the Epstein files release nears, hope and anticipation grow among victims, advocates, and the public. Many see this as a long-overdue opportunity to uncover the truth and hold those involved accountable. Survivors hope the files will validate their experiences and lead to justice. There's a belief that exposing Epstein's network could prompt further legal action and systemic change. The release is a chance to confront past failures and work toward a future where such abuses are not tolerated. The world now waits, hoping these documents will bring meaningful change and accountability.